Meghan was researching the prince online and found out that the prince is now duped, so I can now go ahead and marry him. At that stage, Meghan contacted Joe, told him that, look, if you open your mouth, I'm gonna sue you.
Holy shit. He said what?
Many people doubt Meghan has long been a mother. Following her attendance at Northwestern University, Meghan began dating Joe Giuliano. And the couple got married after having a child when Meghan was almost 20.
What?
Joshua Silverstein was her very first boyfriend. They were both only 13.
According to reports, Noel was born in or around 1999.
Is the Buckingham Palace family in crisis? Word on the street is that a secret daughter of Meghan Markle has just rocked the very foundations of the royal family. Prince Harry is reportedly beside himself, but not for the reasons you might think.
It's really quite sad.
You know, I think as she told it, she approached me.
But apparently for me, that doesn't matter.
Given her appearance, Noel does share some similarities with Joe and Meghan, and she's even more like Meghan.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Sources say he's just discovered the missing piece of his wife's carefully constructed past, a piece that's a 30-year-old woman named Noel. Wait, so you're telling me that this rebellious princess who just couldn't handle the old school ways of the monarchy was out there building her own life and a whole person behind a curtain? The whispers are getting louder, suggesting this isn't just a rumor, this is a cold, hard fact. But how could a person hide a secret this big for so long without anyone finding out? And the plot thickens. Rumor has it, Meghan wasn't the fresh-faced ingenue she made herself out to be when she first met Prince Harry.
Big new addition to the family, and we just have a very young sister here.
Thomas Jr. was 14 when Meghan came into the world.
Before she was a royal, before her Hollywood career really took off, there were whispers of a secret life, a whole other identity. The story goes that after high school, while her classmates were preparing for college, Meghan went on a different kind of adventure, one that led to a courthouse in Las Vegas with her teenage boyfriend, Joe Giuliano. It's the kind of story that sounds like a movie plot, a classic Hollywood Cinderella story, if Cinderella had a secret marriage and then a secret baby. You would think that such a significant event would have been documented, shared, and celebrated. But what happened next is something nobody could have predicted.
Very clear to me at the time that, we were together, I would say. Yeah, she very clear idea of where she wanted her path to take her.
So they get married, and then what? Well, the plot twist is this wasn't a happily ever after. The marriage, if you can even call it that, reportedly lasted about as long as a free Vegas buffet ticket. A short time later, an annulment was filed, and this is where the story takes a turn for the truly unbelievable. In a city where you can dig up dirt on anyone, from Elvis impersonators to washed up rock stars, the paperwork for this particular annulment was sealed tighter than a vault. Why? What was so explosive about this union that it needed to be hidden from the public eye? The very idea that a teenage marriage would need this level of secrecy is just bizarre, right? The court records were locked away, and it makes you wonder what was so scandalous.
That we were together. It's what kids did, right? So she told her friends she liked me. I told my friends I liked her. And then our friends met, and then they kind of arranged it. And then we became girlfriend and boyfriend.
And the whispers didn't stop there. The rumor mill says the reason for the sealed records was more than just a teenage breakup. It had to do with what came after the marriage. People started talking about a pregnancy. Yes, you heard that right, a baby bump. The story goes that while Meghan was supposed to be globetrotting on her gap year, she was actually dealing with a situation far less glamorous and a whole lot more permanent. This so-called soul-searching trip was, according to these tales, a lot more like damage control. And it makes you wonder, was this really just a gap year or was it a gap child? But that's not even the most shocking part of this whole ordeal.
Hi, Nanny. I got an English award.
This hidden daughter, whose name is said to be Noel, was born and then, the story goes, handed over to the Giuliano family. Not for a visit, but to be raised. Like, just casually, no adoption papers, no official trail, nothing. Just a quiet business-like transaction to make a problem disappear. The Giuliano family, who by all accounts were traditional and private, took on this responsibility while Meghan reportedly went on to Northwestern University to reinvent herself. It's a level of detachment that's hard to wrap your head around, a chapter she seemingly wanted to scrub clean from her life's script. It's like she just hit the reset button, but the old game save was still out there.
She loved me. I'm a hero. And suddenly I was thrown out.
But what about the prince? What did he know? The most mind-boggling part of this entire saga is that Prince Harry, the man who gave up his royal title for love, was reportedly completely in the dark. It's a bit rich, isn't it? Here's the woman who talks endlessly about honesty and authenticity, and she allegedly kept this massive part of her life under wraps from the man she claimed to love more than anything. It's like being a professional poker player who has an ace up their sleeve, but the ace is a whole other person. The story goes that he found out about this only recently, and it's a bombshell that could have easily made their entire fairy tale collapse. But why would she even risk it? What was so important to her that she would choose to hide this? Because if you believe the stories, Meghan's entire career has been a masterclass in calculated reinvention.
He wiped out all kind of pictures, communications with Joe.
She didn't just become an actress, she became a brand. And every time a part of her past threatened to complicate that brand, it vanished. Old friends, gone. Family members who didn't fit the narrative, cut off. So, why would a child be any different? The whispers say that a baby would have derailed her ambitions of becoming a Hollywood star and eventually a royal. It's a cold way to look at it, but if you look at her history, it's a pattern. The people and parts of her life that weren't useful to her disappeared. But you can't erase people from existence. The truth has a funny way of hurting. And this truth has a 30-year-old birthday on it. The whispers, which have been vague for years, are now getting louder. The Giuliano family, who have reportedly raised this young woman, are not a part of the Hollywood or royal world. They're just private people, living their life. But as this young woman grows older, the story becomes harder to contain. It's like trying to keep a secret in a small town. Eventually, everyone knows. And this secret is no longer a baby, but a grown woman with her own thoughts, her own feelings, and her own story to tell. What if she decides to tell it? What happens then? If this young woman, Noel, were to come out and tell her story, it would completely dismantle the carefully constructed narrative of Meghan Markle. She's built an entire empire on being the victim, on being authentic, and on speaking her truth. But what happens when the truth speaks for itself, and it's a story she spent 3 decades burying? It's not just a PR crisis, it's a demolition. The very foundation of her public image would crumble. The questions would be endless. Why did you hide her? What was so wrong with having a child? Was your ambition more important than your own flesh and blood? The consequences could be devastating for her public image and her family. And this isn't a fairy tale with a happy ending. It's a countdown. The truth, as they say, always has a way of coming to light. And if this story is true, Meghan Markle won't be able to control the narrative anymore. This isn't just about a secret. It's about accountability. It's about a choice